One night over cocktails, we talked about a podcast, one that explored the curious mysteries we were both so interested in, with belief and skepticism. One that explained the mystical modalities we wanted to try from the perspective of new woo-woo explorers.
But the podcast didn't exist.
So we made it.
Hi, I'm Carissa.
I'm Jenny.
Each week, we investigate a new spiritual modality, past life regression, angel numbers, psychics. The list is truly endless. We share what we're learning and experiment right alongside you. Get ready for unfiltered conversations, unexpected discoveries, and a lot of magic from the universe. Welcome to So Guided,
a spiritual travel guide for the curious.
Hello and welcome to another episode of So Guided. Oh my goodness. Today we are listening to Jenny's numerology reading. Numerology is something I have been so interested in and dying to do. And somehow it fell upon Jenny and she did it without me. And I cannot wait to hear what happened because she was a non-believer and now she's a full believer and it blew her mind. You've got questions, so do we. Let's do this.
Hello, Jenny here.
Hi, it's Carissa.
We are doing a recording on the fly today, aren't we?
We are, and can't wait. It's going to be super exciting because it's a real talk that normally we'd be having without the recording because Jenny did something without me, and I cannot wait to hear all about it. So we figure as to sit here and talk about it to each other for 40 minutes, we might as well put the mic on
That's right.
and see what we learn.
That's right. So yeah, the reason it's on the fly is you've always wanted to do numerology.
Yes.
This has been something calling you, and I, Jenny, have not cared that much.
Nope.
But I had listened to a podcast and someone mentioned this particular numerologist, like just nailing it. So I was curious, reached out, and I didn't mean to do it anytime soon. I meant it to be a before and after.
Yeah.
And ultimately, the guy got back to me real quick, and so it happened. So I did it. I went rogue.
I cannot wait. You did. You
I
totally
went
went rogue, doing something I've always wanted to do, and now I'm going to hear if it's worth it.
Totally.
If we should do it.
Totally.
And before we do that, let's talk about our weekly woo-woo.
Let's do it. My woo-woo is more of a funny when you're woo-woo side effect. You guys know we carry crystals everywhere. Some days I literally sound like Ebenezer Scrooge with like the shackles of like dingling, jingling, dingling in my pocket. I very rarely do it when I am going to work out. But I was having a week. I needed the like black crystal energy to protect me from negativity. So I had like a roundish, ovalish black crystal in my sweatshirt, and I go to Pilates. We're in Pilates when all of a sudden I'm on my side doing an activity and everyone in the room starts screaming on the other side of me. And I'm like, what's happening? They're like, Jenny, there's a cockroach next to you.
Oh my God,
And
that's
wait. So first I freak out and I'm like, oh God. So I turn really like slowly, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, I have to tell everyone I have a crystal. And these aren't like crystal-like ladies, we'll just say that.
Oh my God.
And they were jumping off their machines. And I turn around and I'm like, it's a crystal. I have a crystal in my pocket. Anyway, so
Dude, what did they just like look away? What did they do?
Yeah, everyone was laughing. I feel like I'm pretty out there now and of letting myself be brave in my authenticity of being a woo-woo spiritual lady, but that one was next level. And it's with a bunch of people that are very clearly not crystal people. Anyway,
that's a good one. Yeah. I like that.
The crystal cockroach. All right.
Oh, well.
Your woo-woo, Krissa.
Oh my God, my woo-woo. So my woo-woo is a little different too because, you know, we talked about spirit animals and I had gotten a kangaroo. And so it was funny. I was talking to this girl who I work with, and she's like a client, and she's in another state, and she's actually from Australia. So I don't know what possessed me to like share that I had just done like a spirit animal reading.
Sound like you.
She's really easy to talk to. And again, we were talking about work, but it just came up because she's Australian, so it reminded me of a kangaroo. And I knew nothing about if she was spiritual or anything, but I just took a chance. I was like, I can't help but tell you because you're Australian about this reading and about the fact that I have like a kangaroo. And she was like, oh my God, that's amazing. She's like, I want to do it. She's like, can you send me the website? And she got super into it. So a couple of days later, like out of nowhere, she texted me and she was like, hey, I just want you to know, she's like, that my screensaver just changed and it changed to a kangaroo. She's like, I've never gotten this. She's like, it's not because I'm Australian. And she like was like, made sure to preface it. It's not because I'm Australian. No. I've never gotten a screensaver. She's like, I don't know how it changed, but I have a kangaroo on it. And she's like, and I just had to let you know. And I was like, oh my God. And so I felt like it was a sign through her in another way. And it also reminded me at that point, I'm like, oh, I need to send her the spirit animal. So I'm excited for her. She wants to do it. She's going to do it. But I'm like, we can get signs from everywhere. And it totally made me think that like, it was meant to be. And so I'm opening the fact that I didn't get like a super woo-woo to me, but I'm like, that's gotta be a woo-woo, that she's getting a random kangaroo and telling me it was for me.
Also, I think when you go on a limb and tell anyone any story in this realm of life, it always comes back.
It does.
It always does.
Yes,
it always does.
Yeah. It is funny how you get like sometimes like called to. And other times like it could be so perfect, but you're like hesitant. Like there are definitely times where like I could say this, I could talk about the podcast. I'm like, nope. No. And I'm like, but then there's some people I'm like, okay, this is the right person. You just gotta feel that feeling.
It's almost like the word is soft. You know, like the path is soft, you could share it. Yeah. Like there's an openness with somebody and you're like, all right, I could share what I actually really want to say right now. Which is how I hope to live our life, right? We both hope that.
Well, your pistol falling out of your pocket with a cockroach. Well, you had to open up. That was a hard sell. Like you had to sell it. You had to say. All right. Yeah. So now tell me everything about numerology. I am so excited.
I know. I am too. And it's not what I thought. I don't know. Maybe I thought they were more angel numbers. That's not what they're digging into. Numerology is way more like birth chart. So you give your birth date. They don't need your time. They need your name on your birth certificate, strangely.
Full name, like middle name, everything. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they need your birth date. And one of the reasons this guy got me without us planning this episode is he had asked for my birthday and I had given it to him. And I basically said like, you know, I was kind of hoping for a reading in a month from now so you and I could go research numerology and do a typical before. But he emails me, this is one of the most unique charts I've seen in years. And this is a 70-year-old man, by the way, who's been doing this a long time.
Can we just say, like, of course it is?
Of course.
Like, we get it, Jenny.
Okay. So, but we already know for numerology, my birth date was going to produce something a little interesting because I have an interesting birthday without saying my full age.
I feel like you have to.
Oh, well, I'll do it. 11/11/77.
Right.
So this is it's clear there's vibration to that number. We all know that.
Yeah.
So I knew something, but anyway, I told you, oh gosh. And you're like, oh, you have to go do this. You have to do this immediately. Yes. So I did it.
Right. When anyone tells you it's the most unique thing they've ever seen and they've been doing it for 70 years, even if it's a sales pitch, it works. Well, even if they're just saying it's a done deal.
This is funny because you're the one who are like, you got to do it. And I was like, oh, is this a sales pitch? But I actually had it explained to me within the reading and it was not a sales pitch. But let me start. And I actually am going to... I typed the way he explained the numerology because it was so beautiful. I'll tell you in my terms first, and then I'm going to read what he had told me on the call, is numerology is a vibration you chose in this life. So like in our birth chart readings where the planets and the stars are dictating our path and our characteristics, this is a certain energy we chose. And what's really cool is it's compatible with birth charts. They're not opposing. And even practitioners will layer them on each other for more depth. So they're not different then. It's a different like drop in. So you're looking at the energy. So every number has energy and that's what they're looking at. So when he does your numerology chart, he uses the term markers. So he'd refer to this is a marker in your chart. So it's almost like in my brain, it was like he was looking at code. Yeah, you know, and he's like, oh, this is one of your codes. This is one of your markers. And he used the word mark a lot. But in his words, because this is really, I thought this was so beautiful. It's your sonata in this lifetime. It's your musical notes. Every note has an equal number and vibration to it. You picked it. You govern this. What I really loved was that it was our choice. I thought that was cool. But this is the energy that vibrates with you in the material world that you enlisted from the spiritual world.
Oh, that's so cool.
So much deeper than I thought.
Oh my God.
Right?
Because you picked it for the vibration.
Yeah.
You picked the numbers to create that. I love how you call it like the musical notes. You can picture how all the music makes a different sound, but as in vibration.
So this makes so much sense. And so he even further, I think the next version of it was, so before you entered this lifetime, you sat at a piano ready to compose. And this is your song. And I think that's beautiful. It's just beautiful. And numbers, I'm one of those people, I'm averse to numbers. Math scares me.
Yeah.
Carnival in my head if you start talking math and add things and subtract things. And so this was a really beautiful, to turn it to music. Yeah. And music is numbers.
Yeah, well.
So
I think that's why I've always been so drawn to it, because I think everything is numbers. I think patterns and numbers. And so that's why I always wanted to do numerology, because I feel like everything can be drilled down to a number. And that becomes the frequency. So I love that he was able to turn you into someone who's interested in it by making it sound in a prettier way.
It was a poetic way. But what's interesting, and this is me kind of hypothesizing, we didn't talk about angel numbers, but because we know everyone listening loves them, and it's something we always share with friends and back, is that makes sense applying that to this, that an angel number has a vibration.
Yes.
So that makes so much sense. They're looking at your chart, and other readers, like the birth chart reading or other readings, all of a sudden these key characteristics are going to come out about yourself. And so he's looking for these marks.
Can I ask a question? So
Sure.
How did he you said he's been doing it for 70 years. So he's just
he's 70.
Okay, he's 70. So he's older, but he's been doing it for a while.
I think 40 years.
So when he took your birthday and your name, did he then come out with a code, or he just kind of applied that to what's he looking at to pull
That's such a good question, and I'm going to obviously make you do this.
Right,
and
right.
I think we emailed him right before this. And
we're in. I need it.
So Chris is reporting back on hers. You need to ask what he's looking at, because I didn't ask that. And
because you couldn't see. He wasn't showing you anything on the screen.
Normally we're on a Zoom. This is old school phone. He doesn't to email.
God, so you couldn't even see
this
him.
This is very old school. Yeah, which is weird for me.
Oh, that is weird. You're so used to it. I'm so used to everything being Zoom these days.
Yeah, that was hard for me, but then once we got into it.
It was it was fun.
And also, it wasn't a reading. A reading where he's picking up my energies. He's reading something he came up with from the numbers, right?
Okay.
So it was okay. But I did say, can we Zoom? And he's like, oh, I don't do
Zoom.
I don't do tech.
Old school, right?
Yeah, he's very old school. Super knowledgeable. I don't know. The way that he described numerology had me. So we're going into it. So I guess you have a mark that's your a main characteristic. And my mark is the mark of a free spirit.
Oh.
Which is not shocking whatsoever. I mean, he's funny. He's very dramatic. He goes, you move to the beat of your own drum. You have to. And then he in a funny voice said, you do not like limitations. Which is so true. He's like,
you are a free spirit.
Yeah. And he's like, you are you literally can't be put in, a box. And it's your way, and you're not doing it in a mean or aggressive way. You just need things to be free, and that. And that's.
Oh, so I love that your numbers gave you a main headline.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple of them.
Oh, good.
So I guess there's a master number we're going to get to.
Okay.
But there's marks. So the way I saw it is the master number, which I'll get to, is maybe the biggest of all for your destiny point. And what I love about this reading, what is more into a reading than collecting evidence or someone telling you your life's purpose?
This
reading
that's
does
all
that.
we ever want. Someone tell me. I can't figure it out myself, so somebody tell me my life purpose.
I got to tell you, backing out of even this reading, I feel like we're at a point where the last few we've done have been so in alignment that I feel like this thing that was once elusive to me is clear as effing day. My purpose.
Oh.
This one was enough of what we've gotten in others, but with a new certain turn to it, that I was I actually have felt high on life since this reading. I feel so in tune and aligned with myself. So that's what this is all about.
Oh my God.
When we do these readings, it's it's not that someone's telling you something. It's that when they do, it resonates.
Yes. Oh, yes.
And there's a difference. Because I've been talked to by other people. We do not like all of our readings.
No.
The difference for me is that the ones where I'm oh, damn, I'm feeling goosebumps. It's resonating.
Right.
And you know when you're...
And you know it to be true. Inside, you're oh my God, this is exactly it. It's someone from it's myself telling me it, even though somebody else is telling you it. It's you're...
Yeah. So I don't know. So I feel we're so deep in our readings that it's just getting so clear for me. It's one of my life gifts right now at this moment that we've gotten to go on this path, because I never would have gone to a million readings. But I feel like it's clearing the air for me. Anywho. So,
Okay.
and it's also one of those, they're telling you your positives, but what you're going to like contend with too.
Yeah.
So he said, mark of a free spirit. I have lots of passion. He said, and I like this, past lives, I didn't have freedom. He's like, you have a not so far away, but far away in history of time. And he said, I was so tampered down. He said it was somewhere in Asia. And it was like a life where he said, it's weird, but he's like, it's not that you weren't loved, but there were so many rules that confined you that like this life, you're like, oh, hell no to the rules. And we've never heard about that.
We have not heard
New
this
past
Asian life.
I'm
like,
cool. All right.
Wow.
So he said, I have one of my marks is moneymaker energy. And he said, but it's like, not like I'm not like energy focused on money. It just comes.
Okay.
And more like abundance.
Yep.
And that's, something I love. He said, one of my other marks is shamanic energy. Very, very, he said, very, very shamanistic. He said, one of my marks that comes up 3 times in my chart is a high gift of art and design. He says very specifically, I work magically with the composition of things. And he goes,
oh my God, you do?
His actual question was, do you do any designing in your job?
Oh my God.
And I said,
I'm just a famous designer.
Not a famous designer. But I said, I'm a designer. And he said, well,
You're a
of
humble,
course you are.
famous
And he said, also, do you own your own business? Because you have to. He's like, because of your free spirit. Those 2 things mean you literally can't work.
Don't you love, though, to hear that you're on the right track, though?
Yes.
Not even that, like, because, again, if you weren't doing that and it was in your chart, you'd be like, well, no, but I always wanted to. Like, to have it, not even the evidence, but have the reassurance that
Every
you're doing
time.
what you're supposed to.
Yep.
It's like, there's nothing better than that.
That was one of mine. Yeah, sitting in this.
Oh, my
hearing
God.
Hearing
that you're, like, doing, like, what you're supposed to be doing. Because we don't all hear that. That's not, like, that's not, like, everyone, I mean, I feel like lots of us who are not feeling like we're in the right spot, or we're feeling we need more, or we're feeling uncomfortable. So to, like, have that, and you have been, like, you do feel like you've been thriving in design, and, like, you've been, it's come quickly to you, and so for it to, like, then be like, well, of course it is, because it's, like, now, like, the frequency you chose.
Yeah.
That's neat.
One of the very specific words I liked about that, because it feels so true, is when he talked about composition. So you've worked with me before in design. There is, like, let's just pretend I'm styling a mantle. Do I not have the weirdest idiosyncrasies of what's working or not when I'm putting your mantle together? Like, we do this when we shop, and you're like, what do I do here? The word composition I've never identified with, but I do hear, and I now see it everywhere in my work, is there's this layering of composition of the yin and yang, of what needs to happen in the light and the dark and the height and the vertical.
You do it all the time.
That is...
I literally, when you told me to get a new dresser, I got it. What did I do? I, like, called you, and I put my stuff on it, and I thought it looked very nice. But I called you, and you're like, oh, great, let's style the top and do this, and this, which is totally different than what I currently have, and I already know it'll look better, but that's what you do. Like, and you put things together, and it's like, it doesn't even look that hard, or it's not like, oh my God, how'd you think of it? But it looks so much better. Then if I, like, and then, like, someone else had done it. You do. It's all, I mean, it's true. It is true. I've said that about you all the time. Like,
But that's
as
like
your friend, like, I've seen it in action all the time. It's so real.
But that word, doesn't that word specifically, because I think different people, even within my field, have different things that they're, but
it's also,
composition is
but can I say something else?
Yeah.
It's also something you're passionate about. You've said when you take on jobs, you want to do that last layer because you think that's the most important. And that's a composition of putting things together.
You're right.
And, like, doing that final thing to really make it come alive. Like, that's your favorite part of your whole job.
So cool. So how about that for a fun tidbit? If I know in work what I was actually born with, that should be, and that's why, like, the construction phase, I'm like, oh, this is nitty gritty. I don't want this. I want more of the truly decorating phase.
But you know what's funny? It's such a bigger message that, like, that's what you're passionate about, and then it's in your chart. So it's like when something actually fuels us, it makes us alive. Like, it's probably meant to be. You know what I'm saying? We really, when you are in that higher frequency or that vibration of feeling good, it's because it's like what you really want to be doing or passionate about. Right. So of course that's your favorite part, and then it's in here.
Yeah. I know. Well, one of the fun things, too, that I've asked over and over again that I keep getting back. So I have a duality right now, and you know this. I love design. I'm passionate about design. I love our podcast. I love the woo-woo spiritual journey. And Every reading I'm at, I'm ready and waiting and wanting, if my ego had the way, I want one of these frickin' readings to tell me to quit my day job, as much as I love it, to just do this.
Right.
Every time I've ever asked, the very aggressive, assertive answer from every reader ever is, you're supposed to do both. And
right.
This guy was no different, because you'll hear later we get into spirituality, which is a huge part of my chart. And I was like, should I be just doing that? And he said, absolutely not. You need to do both.
That's amazing.
And I get that over and over again, which is also a beautiful answer to my life. Don't give up that.
And right, and
do
why?
both.
Right, and if you're meant to do both, you can do both. It's also
Why
going to
not?
be one or the other.
Right.
You can have multiple things. So wait, I have another question though, and you might not be able to answer this. But so you're talking about the markers, but I've heard of master numbers. I know you're going to get into that, but that's not a master number. So markers are just part of the frequency that kind of stand out. What the markers are just things that kind of the numbers are
again, I literally don't know what he's looking at. My feeling from it, just in my visual in my head that I'm absolutely making up on the spot, is if there was a video game program and you looked at the code, there's a relationship to your name itself too with the way with numbers. So it's a calculation, it's a code, it's a program,
okay.
And he's printed that code.
It's the matrix of numbers. I think he's reading.
Moving. That's exactly what I see. The matrix code.
Yeah, and he's saying things that are jumping out. Right. So it's a matrix of you, and then he's reading it. He's like, oh, this is standing out as you're this. This is standing. Okay, I get it. All right.
But you are our little Miss Investigator, so you will ask this question.
No, that helps. No, that makes sense.
But does that make sense? And that's really what I saw in my head when I was talking to him. So anyhow, he's nailed it on the gift of arts and design. That, like I said, made me crack
I think
up.
you're right though and not to interrupt you, but I think you're right about it being a code, because even we were talking, not to jump into a different podcast, but
totally.
The telepathy tapes, how they were saying they were talking about autistic kids and how they can see things differently and they can read minds, and some of them can literally feel energy, and when they see it they can actually they've seen kids who can see code of everything.
Oh my God, it's the Matrix.
It is the Matrix. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
It's like the code. And when you watch the movie, you see the codes of everything, and not necessarily as in a video game or in not in a bad way. Do you know what I'm saying? Not that we're trapped in this, but as in a way of that numbers are everywhere, and that just how there's different energy and resonance to things, that can be coded into numbers. So I feel that's it's because when you said that, I think that makes a lot of sense with how I am totally buying into these children who have these gifts that can see things and feel things differently, and that's one of the ways they explain it.
This is one of the things, and it makes sense when some of your senses are deprived, how you would be able to see what we don't.
Yeah.
That makes so much sense. I don't question that. That's not one of the things that we've researched. But I'm absolutely with you. So it makes so much sense. But we're looking at this big, beautiful tree I love out. That's coded. I mean, or isn't that even what they say is actually in the rings of a tree? Those are numbers that relate to. Good Lord. So this is a side note, and I need you to ask in your reading. He mentioned sacred geometry a few times, but didn't connect the dots.
We always wanted to know about that.
Numerology is related to sacred geometry. So you're asking it. Also, I don't know if it's a whole separate topic we need probably. But please ask him.
I'll ask
him.
All
right, because I'm curious how it relates, but it all does.
Okay.
We know it does.
All right, tell me more.
We're just not mathematicians who are doing. Okay. He said, I am so different, it would actually be weird to fit in with others. It just doesn't work. He goes, don't even try. Just give up. He's like,
he told you to give up? Yeah. He gave you permission?
Yeah. He said, and he goes, your life will be better when you realize, he goes, I don't mean this mean, but you are just not different. You're just too different. Who you are and everything about all of this. He's like, it's beyond a square peg and a round hole. And he goes, you're with the crowd. And you could be in a crowd. People will think you're a part of the crowd. You're with the crowd, but not of the crowd.
Ooh,
which was very cool.
This is very evidential. This is very true. And this is a trigger of your life. It's feeling sometimes, and not in a bad way, but you're always how do I? But now again, it's permission to
And then I'll pause on that because I think we've alluded to it, but I don't know that we've actually really talked about it. So all right, Jenny has triggers with friends and being close to people and letting people in, but I genuinely have a feeling of not belonging. You know this to my core. You know this. Yes. And it's it's so embedded in me that when someone tells me it brings emotion out of me to be validated.
Yes.
But I don't know, well, I could say I know why, but it's so lovely to hear that I'm not just Did
he say you were from another planet?
He did. Maybe he knew this was coming.
things we have to.
Okay,
so one of the things that has come up a couple of times during like Jenny's reading that we're like, okay, we're just trying to like dabble into spirituality. We're not trying to get all like effing crazy and be like ridiculous. But a couple of times it has come up that Jenny is from another planet. And so we have like some more intense stories that you can probably share. And maybe you could tell like one of them, of one of the examples. But like when we've heard this, it's like, you know, it's like unicorn status. Like, are we going to buy, like, it's so crazy. But you've said, like, it's too much. And one of the first readings you ever got, you were told you were from, and this is, like, before the podcast, I think.
Before the podcast,
This is before the podcast. So when Jenny had heard this, I remember her telling me the reading. This is just when we talked about it to each other. And you were telling me, and it was, like, one of your first past life regressions where somebody, like, read you. And I'm like, tell your story, but just from my perspective. So you were telling me that, like, hey, like, it was kind of weird, you know, like, it was, like, we went to a couple past lives, and then all of a sudden, she basically told me that, was it the pink planet? Or was it that what she said? She told me that I'm, like, from another planet. And I'm, like, from another planet, that, like, it's the pink planet. And that, like, and you were like, that's when she lost me. You were basically like,
you're like, off the whole
you're
thing.
like, this is freaking ridiculous. Like, this is total bullshit. And she's like, you know, the pink planet, like, and it may have been also, what was it, Lumeria? Where you were also Lumerian? She told you, like from the ancient cities and also from another planet, and that's why you're cold all the time. And so you're telling me this, and you are taking it from a place of, like, this is total bullshit. Like,
we've crossed the line.
We crossed the line. Like, and you're like, what a fucking waste, excuse me, what a waste of money. Like, this is so stupid. And I was like, I'm actually buying it. Like, I remain like, everything she's saying actually makes sense to you. You're always cold. You have like you do, like, you always feel like, you know, you've got like these crazy blue eyes. Like, there's like something, you got a different look. And like, 'cause that was one of the things too. She said you looked different.
I do.
You look different. That was so funny. And you were like offended.
Yeah.
But I think it was like in a nice way. But it was funny. So like but I was like, no, I buy into it. And you said, yeah, you're like, it's funny. My sister actually bought into it too. And I'm like, well, me and your sister, I think are the two people who like know you the best at like, from there. And I'm like, I don't think she's wrong. And you were like, all right, I can't. You're like, maybe. But then as time went on, a couple things that she had said resonated like more and more. And not like you ever really truly bought into it. Mm-hmm. And again, it was like before the podcast, we were just talking about it. But I would always joke with you. I'm like, well, you're from a different planet because things you say and things you do. I'm like, well, that's why. And then you have to just tell. We can, if it's too long, we can cut it. But you have to tell about the time where the woman
at the witch retreat. Oh God! Oh gosh!
Just tell it.
You tell it.
Oh my God! No, I can't. I feel like it was better. I feel like you have to tell it. I feel like it's your.
I don't remember.
Oh my God! So then the other time, the time that we got expelled at the witch retreat. Okay. This was another part, and again, at the time we didn't want to tell the story because it seemed so far fetched. Remember how we were like, if you guys remember, we went to a witch retreat, we learned about tinctures. But the reason we learned about tinctures is because we were upstairs and we were just trying to like decompress and like hang out and like have some fun. Because there were so many rules around this witch retreat where you couldn't talk after a certain time and whatever. And while we were there, we were like laughing and giggling, and someone at like downstairs was like doing chanting, and like I think what we had thought, she thought we were like laughing at her, but we were not laughing at her. What we were laughing at was like not only the experience that we were having, but as we were sitting there just talking about the day. We had brought up the fact that Jenny was from another planet to each other. And so we were laughing and we're like, oh my God, well, because Jenny's from another planet, we were just having like. And
I think what it is was we were so into the intuitive retreat that I was like, I think I'm starting to buy in.
Yes,
and we were dying laughing. Like, okay.
Yes, it was like, we were so into this witch retreat. Like, oh my God, Jenny's like she's crossing over. She's gonna like buy into this like other planet. So we're talking about this, and at the time, the woman who actually gave us the tinctures walks upstairs. And as we're laughing, she's like, what are you guys talking about? And she's asked us, and we're like, again, we're kind of off the rails at that point, and we're laughing. And I was like, oh, just talking about how Jenny's from another planet. And this woman, without skipping a beat, goes, oh, yeah, me too. I'm from the land of, like, the fish. And she basically starts, I don't remember what the hell she called it, but she basically started talking about how she is from the fish planet and she was an underwater, like, Aquarian. And, like, without, like, laughing, she doesn't think it's funny, like, totally, oh, yeah, I was too. I'm, like, from here. Yeah. And she was well aware of her past life on a water planet. Yeah. And that's when, again, me and Jenny lost it to, like, the maximum. Yeah. And we're like, oh, my God, Jenny's from another planet. This woman's a fish. Like, what is happening? And then the woman who was the fish, who, again, we end up loving. Yeah.
Yes,
again,
she was amazing.
I still, knowing her now, feel like she is from the fish planet. basically she's the one that created the tinctures, which made me like trip from. So
yes.
Long story long. That's basically how we found out that Jenny was from another planet, but we haven't really brought it up as much here. We didn't want to scare everyone into thinking like we've gone off the deep end and now
we have. But we have. This is unicorn status. But I think the important part is how it evolved over time from like absolutely not.
No, now it's common.
To now, and here's a term that I've come to find as an endearment now. The term is starseed.
That makes it sound way better.
Way better.
Starseed is like a compliment. Other planet is like
that feels like an alien.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
So over time, and again, this is one of those with massive belief and disbelief that live in my same body.
Me too, all the time.
About it. But as I've dug into this, and we're going to do a whole episode on it, by the way, starseeds, because I find it all very fascinating, is that it's less that it's a galaxy and more it's a dimension, is what I've been learning, which helps my brain. Because there's for sure multi-dimensions.
I agree.
So that actually makes me feel even better. And so a lot of when people are talking about starseeds or these other like versions of where our souls have been, lived at higher frequencies. And then a lot of the language about why these so-called starseeds are here now is that humanity needs to raise vibration. And that's the reason. So take it what you will.
I like that.
We are off the deep end today. However, the whole energy goes along with numerology and vibrations. Like it all
Which
connects.
makes sense if your reading is different than it's ever seen and you're from a different planet and the frequency is different and the higher frequency, it would make, when you start looking at the evidence together, it's not contradictory.
No,
that's for sure.
No, it's not. So I'm going to do something right now. So now he said, now we need to talk about your master number.
Okay.
And he goes, and so remember, we're on the phone. And he's like, I need you to understand about this master number.
Oh, I love that.
And in order for you to see what I'm explaining, I need you to follow my lead. Now, this is hilarious. Look at this. I don't understand what he's doing. So my numbers are all over the place. And I'm like, sir, you're going to have to start over again. I'm not doing this right. So he explains to me how he gets my master number. And you will hear.
Your birth date. The one is from 19 because I reduced that. Okay. And then the 77. And the reason why we're doing that is because you really shouldn't reduce master numbers.
So he's telling me how to get to the
your path is all master numbers, except for that one, but you need that one. So add them up and tell me what it comes to.
So if I wrote it right this time, it's 100?
That's right.
Okay.
That is the highest master number you could possibly have in this lifetime.
Oh, okay.
There's nothing higher than that. Now, and so that tells me that, has she had a lot of challenges in her life, but a lot of opportunity as well. I mean, it just seemed like I must be from a different planet or something.
Dude, that's crazy.
I mean, you would feel so alienated, and that would be hard for you because rejection isn't like something that you would snuggle up to. In fact, you don't want the conflict, you don't want the rejection. But you're so different from other people. It would seem really weird to try to fit in with others.
Yeah.
And you would really try, but it just won't work.
That's very true.
Well, so let me tell you what this path means, my friend.
Okay.
Is that it is considered the dewdrop. And if you look at a dewdrop, it's you can have, like we've been experiencing drought here for 3 or 4 months now. And one dewdrop can constitute an entire new ecosystem. Just one dewdrop. So what your energy is about, it's about very high authenticity. It's about bringing forth something so new into the world, something so innovative, something so new that no one else has really thought about this. It's beyond the pioneer. And this would be challenging because your energy moves to cooperate with others, fit in with the crowd, and you don't. I mean, she's like, I don't know what. I know I'm doing everything right. I'm not doing anything evil against people. No, I'm being a good girl.
That's what it
It just doesn't work. Well, it's not supposed to.
Okay.
Because you come from you're incredibly idealistic, and you have very high ideals, and these are very high principles. And your principles come from off planet. They're not from the mores and traditions here. So, and you have to kind of embrace that.
I've heard that many times.
Okay, so you're not like other people, and it's like you're advanced. You're more advanced, and you have to be comfortable with that. The way that you look at the world must be really strange. Like, what the hell are people doing? I mean, it would go beyond your ideals and principles. Your principles are extremely high.
So he goes on from there to...
Can I just say one thing?
Yeah.
Did you get a reading by Donald Trump? Dude, I heard his voice like freaking Trump.
All right. So when I told you to schedule this, I was like, you have to get over something.
Oh
Yeah.
my God. I'm like, wait, you didn't see his face?
No.
Is Trump...
I know.
He's got his hands in a lot of stuff, apparently. That's one of them. Jeez, oh my gosh. Lord help us. Oh my God. Okay.
All right.
Sorry.
So he ends up saying, and he goes on to say that this is the highest life path. That my soul is so ancient that I don't have to come again after this one.
Whoa!
Which I've never heard, but it's 100. Like, I'm done. Like, if I want to tap out, I can tap out, which is hard to imagine.
That's crazy.
I know, but he
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah, so he's saying
This is like, this could be your last life
if I wanted
if you
it to
wanted
be.
it to be.
Yeah, and he said like,
Dude, we've never heard that. That is freaking.
That's
That's
news to me.
Oh man.
The ancient, not so
No,
much.
the ancient's
we get
fine.
that. But the like, yeah, and he said,
Dude, that's
that's
a little like nervousness,
that's
right?
Well, Belle overheard me say that to Brian, and she actually got so upset. And she's like, "But you're coming back, so we could always be together."
Oh, so
and
sweet.
that was the first thing I thought about.
Me too.
Was
That's what I was
wanna
thinking
be with
about
my
too. I'm
family.
like, I
I want to be with my people.
I know.
So he like goes on from there. So basically, as the last number you could possibly have, apparently, and there's no way I'm accomplished. If this is true, there's no way that I'm accomplished. I don't think I'm set up to do what he's talking about this lifetime. I think we might make minor progress. It would be awesome if major progress, that we made people feel good about exploring all this and turn lights on in heads.
Yeah.
But it doesn't sync up with where my life path is for this to be the one that's that successful of a human,
Okay.
right? But anyway,
Okay.
so he goes on to say that...
Wow. And what's I'm assuming the life path, if 100's the highest, the scale is 1 to 100.
Yeah.
And like 1, does that mean that you're like not advanced, or numbers have different?
I have no idea.
I wonder if it's in like the scale of like the higher the better, not the better, but
Yep. No.
Well, that's that.
That means, and he ends up like circling back to that, and it's the universal humanitarian, and it's the highest destiny number. I guess this is called a destiny number. He said that early in life, I was tested in patience, tolerance, understanding, forgiveness, and given more trials than the average person before I got to the age I'm at now. And now that I've seen humanity from all these angles, and like my soul chose all of that to then be able to love people from where they stand. And that like one of my things about going through challenges is that I could love people from all the places that they stand. And ultimately my deep, deep karma is like teaching love. Like at the end of the day, like the conundrum between the other parts of myself is that love is the driving force, and that's what I want to teach, and that's what I believe in. And he said, in this number, the love is so deeply ingrained in me. And then he goes back to the other planet. He's like, you're from a loving place where the community is loving, which we just heard about in the channeling too, right?
Right.
He said one of the cultures that I came from, and I've never heard this in my life, was Egypt. And the very early, and he gave the time period of the part of Egypt that was actually love and community based, which isn't what I think of when I think of Egypt, by the way.
No.
And apparently there's this, he went down a rabbit hole about Egypt, but of course I love Egypt, and that's something I connected to.
Well, you've always actually wanted Egypt to come up as one of your things, because you have such an affinity towards it.
And he said that he thought that that was one of my really big lives. And he said, and this is a repeated theory, gosh darn it, I'm going to be embarrassed. I'm going to have such regrets for what I'm sharing in this episode.
Why?
Well, anyway, but
You're already a loner.
Yeah, so he says about Egypt, so he literally names the system I'm from, and it's Sirius system. And he has so much information on it. And he said they actually are the star seeds that inform the Egyptians how to do the pyramids and everything. And we're immersed in the culture and
Wow.
incarnated as them. And he said you were involved with the Nile River and all this other stuff, which is from a past life where I saw myself in Egypt, and it had to do with the river. And so anyway,
so because that was one of the ones that you've seen before or had.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So he said that, and he said that there was, and what I really loved is my other note for that same past life regression that I remember my lasting vibe of that was, I kept saying, it was so loving there. It's not like how it is here. It was so, so loving there. That was like when I heard my reincarnation recording, I repeat it. People are so loving here. Like, I'm a part of the love. They love me. I feel such tenderness towards them. Like, that's in my recording. And he explains that. And he actually says, you're a part, like that was something you were a part of and you long for it this whole lifetime. And that's why your number 100 is, you know that feeling. Your heart can't acquiesce that that's not where humanity's at, which makes so much sense.
God, it makes so much sense.
And so he goes on and on about how, like, what I strive for. And you know, I just said that this couldn't be the life. He actually said, it isn't this momentous act. It is just, it could simply be a vibration of something that you're raising. And he made it less of this, like...
See, I like that.
I do too. I forgot he said that.
No, that's really good, because that's always what we think. It has to be this big, huge thing. But they say, like, just simply raising your vibration raises the whole world's vibration.
Right.
Like, the whole universe. So you just having that, if you were able to get to a place where that you feel that love,
right,
as true as you had there, it would create a shift in the universe.
Well, I'll tell you, and I hope we do talk about the telepathy tapes at some point in greater detail, but I think I told you I had a really weird reaction to it a couple weeks ago. The best episode, I think it's episode 10, and it's not spoiling anything, I don't think. If you haven't heard it yet, you should. Stop right now if you love our podcast. This is like the greatest thing I've ever heard. But they're talking about how we're not, the non-speaking autistic children are saying, we don't get it. There's so much love around you. And they're talking about this love that surrounds us. And I was like a normal family weekend, and I went in the bathroom and cried. It makes me sad right now. I felt so sad that this isn't how we live or operate. Yeah. And I actually felt kind of on my knees, like moment of like, I believe in this love that I haven't seen on this planet, honestly. And I had this like moment that was so sad and filled with heartache, and it was that, why aren't we here yet? It's so hard here. I just kept hearing it in my head, it's so hard here. I just want to be the place where love is only love. And so fast forward a week or 2 weeks later, he's saying these words, and I know this is very dramatic. I understand it sounds dramatic, but it's where I'm at in processing myself, my life, and where I fit. And so, like, again, to hear something that I've been feeling that, like, I long for this, like, love. Like, I don't know how to explain it. And so it just...
You are explaining it.
Oh, I am? Oh, good.
100%. I completely understand what you're saying. And it makes, again, with all the different things coming together, it makes so much sense.
Yeah. So this felt really, again, another beautiful thing. Like, to be validated of why I don't fit in, and that's a real thing, and I'm not making it up. And then, you know, also this longing for this home and this feeling and this place of love that really doesn't exist here, except for certain moments. That really, like, hit it for me.
Dude, I love this because one of the things, like, so I haven't listened to the last episode, like, fully for telepathy tapes, but you were telling me about it, and you were telling me how it did, like, kind of bring you to your knees, and then you were telling me your dad's been listening, and your dad was like, I can't believe it. It's, like, so happy. It makes you feel good. And you were like, I had such a different reaction, and you did. You had such a visceral reaction of like, oh my God. And then to hear this, though, it would make sense. If you've, like, to almost, like, not be able to contemplate in your soul how people cannot feel this here, and it is so hard, and like when there is just so much love around us, if we could just like get out of our own way or whatever, or like take the blinders off or whatever we agree to when we come here, I think that's like beautiful that you're able to like get that like clarity.
I think it is clarity, and it almost makes me feel like more comfortable in my own emotions that don't always make sense.
Yes.
So, am I accepting the fact that I'm a fucking starseed? Is that what's happening here?
Yeah, no, like I said, starseed sounds much more acceptable. I would totally do it. Yeah. Like, that's a good one. That's a good word. Yeah. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, oh so this is like, so the heart of it was like, all right, you know, you're going through, and you know, the other backstory is that I've had an extraordinary amount of, I always think I'm kind of the Forrest Gump of events. Like, I was in 9/11. I was in the Bay Area earthquake. I've had a couple of horrible traumas in addition to that. Like, it was not an easy lifetime. And everyone says that. He's like, this is an extraordinary lifetime, but it is hard. And I get that in my birth chart reading. I get it with anyone who reads me. And he used the word again. So he says it's a transformative, a transmutation lifetime. Again, repeated themes that I'm meant to go through. I'm meant to go through it. And I picked it, apparently. That's my song. But I'm meant, he said, your actual destiny, and this is where all of it's going for, of everything you accumulated from the past and then this lifetime, is you're here to teach love. And you haven't figured out the way you're teaching love yet, but that's what you're here for. And that's like the most beautiful thing I've ever heard.
Oh my God.
And then at which point I was like, yes, I'm finally going to get to get the answer from someone. I'm like, so I love spiritual stuff and I've considered that that's my only career. And he's like, oh no. No. You need to do both. And that was, I thought at this point, I'm going to get my answer. Anyway, so I thought that was cool. So it was like, he mentioned the word balance a lot, and that's a lot about numerology, I guess, and sacred geometry is the balance of life. So there was a lot of this balancing the scales on both sides of yourself, right? That's it too. So anywho, it went on and on and on. But I think that these are the headlines of it, and it was pretty cool.
So it's like the markers and the master number. Are those the big, like, is there other numbers that he talks about? Or is it like the master's like the one number that is? For
my chart. And you want to know what? We've experienced this where you could get a very different reading where something else is the thing that stands out. Right. So I think on the whole, these stood out. Where these particular markers, and then I don't know if he called it the destiny number, the master number. But that was, obviously the huge one. And I don't know, it was weird. It was weird and wonderful.
Did he give you like watch outs or things? You know how they do usually give you like, okay, these are all the positives. Those are lots of positives. Yeah. Things that are like, here's where you could go.
Well, like he would get into like, the bad side of the free spirit. Obviously, it's really obvious what that would be. Like, I don't like rules. So like, I mean, he had me down to a T, and you I don't know if this is a sensitive subject, but you've experienced me. I am good until I'm not, and then don't F with me. That's very much one of my markers. And, like when a lot of people who know me are like, oh, you don't have like a mean side. But then all of a sudden, if I feel the line's been crossed, it's like, whew. And he like nailed that.
He nailed that. Wow.
Yeah. And a lot of stuff like that.
You can tell that from like the numbers,
but
right?
It's numbers.
I know. It's
numbers. But like, so I love too, because I was thinking, oh no, I love this reading. How does this work with birth charts? Which I also feel really into. He said they layer. And that's what I started with when they layer. So even people who do birth charts do numerology, and they use it just for more and more and more layers. And when you sync up this information with the birth chart reading, they correspond. They're different things that you're talking about, but they're so in relationship. So, I mean, we're reviewing our birth chart reading right now too. And so I'm at the same time, and that was a long time ago. So I'm rewatching it. Yeah. And it's so curious what's matching up. And again, two different practitioners saying the same thing. I mean, my whole birth chart is ending me in the mystical. I just listened to it this morning, and she's saying to me in my reading, on my birth chart, that my entire destiny of my life is spiritual awakening and to bring that out.
Right, and then the numerology said that like you're going through the hard times at the end of your life. It's like the same thing. It's like supporting it.
There's
so like the numerology like supports like they support each other.
They support it. That's such a good word. So I'm loving it. I just feel like it's layer on layer on layer, and numerology is another layer. Now, what we need info on that normally we would have researched is what really is it, and what is the chart he's looking at, and we will get back on that.
The other thing I need to know too is like, it's such cool information, but how do you use that moving forward? Like, does it evolve? Does it change? Like, are there different times of your life that the numbers shift because it's like a musical note? Like, what is it?
I think that he never said anything that was right now. It was more the entire song.
Oh,
so I never felt right now information.
Got it. So it's kind of like a birth chart though too, where it's like showing like the full compass of like your life.
Totally.
Wow.
So yeah, that wasn't so I think yes, but I do think that what the layer that I would be curious about is he has clients that come back over and over again.
Well, that's what I want. Yeah.
And a lot of people are followers of numerology, have someone they return to. So if I return to him, what are we digging into more?
Well,
I wonder.
and does he have, because like the numerology to me is like, does he have certain days or like numbers or things that you should be on the lookout for, or you should do certain things, or like messages from numbers?
I mean, he did. There was actionable items. The key in any category, without boring you, is balance. And that's like the key theme. So within each subject, it was the balance. So one of the things I didn't get into deeply was he was saying I'm very sensual and very sexual. And there was another word. And that those were about balancing. And that if I'm not getting one, I'll lean into food and beverage and sensuality. And he said that's a danger for your free spirit. It's like you need things to be sensual. So you'll look for like booze and good food, which is actually something I love. So anyway, so there was a negative. And like, so within it, there was certainly, so yeah, within this chart, there was the high and low of what, and that was very much in our birth chart, like the high, low, the challenge and the skill. But this was more like, pulled back in a way.
I would.
But it was very,
I'm fascinated by this. I'm so into this stuff.
I know.
And I want to know too, but I want to know like how like you look at your horoscope and you like see how it will like impact you and days. Like I want to know how this interacts with our everyday.
I know.
Like,
so we will have you ask more questions.
All right, well I have one more question for you though.
Yeah.
I know you said like he said that 100 you could like go be done. Do you think you're gonna, like if you like, I mean, is that, you don't think you're done?
Well,
that's so crazy.
That
is one of the craziest things I've ever heard.
That was one of the wildest things we've ever heard. I'm glad that hits you the way it hits me. That hits you. It's like a gut
fucking
thing.
Crazy. Do you think that this would be like because again, we're such believers. One thing we clearly believe in is past lives.
1,000,000%. I'm not shy anymore.
No, we're not shy about the past lives. We clearly believe that we do this multiple times in different bodies in different ways to learn different lessons. And so, and again, not something that like we've always believed in our whole life. We didn't grow up being in that like part, but we are now pure believers. And so to hear that this could be your choice to have it be your last lifetime is like heavy a little bit.
It is heavy.
I mean, it's also kind of good.
Cool. Well, I thought it was. I mean, it's obviously cool to hear. However,
you're so evolved.
The hard to sit about it is, I can't help but like I've been thinking about this reading a lot. But what I can't help but to think is you'd think if you're in your last life, you'd be more like Dalai Lama, Mother Teresa. Right. Which I'm so faulted and flawed. And like, I'm richly flawed. And I'm not always the easiest person to get along with. And I'm very, as you know, solitary. I'm social but solitary. Yeah. And all these things feel to me not the most loving last life.
Right. You think, I agree with you. You think your last life is legit Dalai Lama. That's how I picture it. Like, I am the Buddha, reincarnated, so like I'm here, or whatever. I totally understand.
That's the serious truth. Yeah. So what I kind of took as, oh, that's super cool. What it made me feel good about to process was, well, that's awesome, because I always think about my next life, and that I hope I wake up feeling this stuff. I don't want to wait until I'm 40 to have my awakening. Right. I want to be born with it next time. So what I like to think is I'm setting up my next self to be just ready to go. Like come out of the womb ready to go and embrace this stuff. And I think the world's shifting, so that's acceptable and possible, right? So is this the one? Do I believe that? No. And it really is. And I don't mean to be like hard on myself. We should be like self-love, but I feel deeply flawed. I feel shame all the time. I mean, I've talked about this before. It's very hard to imagine that the characteristics that I possess right now are evolved enough that I'm like, but maybe I'm out, but I'll be your angel.
You know what? Maybe your evolution, and not to like wax poetic about this, but maybe your evolution is to find the self-love. And once you can love yourself and not have the shame, and then you've truly evolved to the higher being. Because that's like, we've gotten that self-love thing, both of us, in readings before, of just loving yourself and not having shame and not having like, if you're able to do that, which is one of the hardest things, I think, for any human, when you feel those feelings, to then just love yourself. It's easier to love other people. It's harder to love yourself. Yeah. If you were to get to that, that would be the ripple the world needs. Then you're...
Oh my gosh, I love it.
Then you're back.
Well, again, I know it's weird, but I'm mirroring it because I'm listening to our birth chart. She said one of my destiny, like, key points on my birth chart is to know myself and love myself profoundly.
Oh my God.
Girl.
You're second.
You literally gave me goosebumps when you said that, because I just heard that this morning.
You know, too. I'm going to have such like freaking reading envy when my number's like 21 or something.
Do you remember I told you there was something that you weren't going to like that I went first?
Oh my God. It's so relentless. Listeners, I feel you. Please listen, even though Jenny's freaking so evolved.
I'm not.
No, that's good. I love it.
But yeah, no, you actually gave me the goosebumps because I was listening to that. So
Dude, that is
it all is so juicy and
It's
good
so
and
good.
clarity. So much clarity lately. So anyway, this is funny. This ended up being one of our long story longs. So we're going to do part 1 and part 2.
Yeah.
So what I would like, and you're going to do for us, is I'd like to know some concrete numerology, sacred geometry stuff, and come back with your reading.
Yeah.
They might pair up enough that we could discuss.
They might.
Right.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll
Okay.
see again if I have anything juicy to actually. All right, that was awesome.
Thank you.
And we'll
I mean,
report
this
back.
is woohoo. I thought we were talking for 20 minutes, but alrighty. I am so high on all the readings we've done lately, but what's really beautiful is the clarity I feel when you're validated for what you feel is off, and you're validated for what you feel is right, and you're validated for your gut instincts. It is such a beautiful gift. So, should you do numerology? Yes, you fucking should. I'm leaving on that.
That's a good one.
Okay, bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening. We've loved being your spiritual travel guides and hope this made you feel more connected. Please leave a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast player. Your reviews help us create the guide that you are looking for. We'd also love to hear your stories.
You could follow and share your experiences with us on Instagram at So Guided Podcast. Your story might just be our next weekly woo-woo. Join us again next week as we continue to dig deeper into the universe. And remember, stay curious, ask the questions. You are so guided.